Alrighty guys, what's going on? So today I want to make just a real quick video that's going to help a lot of people out. Unfortunately not this year because there's no new jets coming, but like next year whenever new jets come and they're thinking about transportation. So this is a big question that a lot of us Inaka jets have to ask ourselves, right? Are we going to rent a car or are we going to buy a car? There's advantages and disadvantages to both, as I'm sure you guys are aware. But today I just want to kind of go through it, talk about some general good points, bad points to each, and then talk about my experience, what I did, and then you can judge for yourself what would be the best for you. Okay, so of course, I mean, just like with anywhere else, it doesn't really matter where you live. The advantages and disadvantages of buying versus renting are going to be pretty much the same. You know, if you buy, it costs more up front, but it's yours, you own it. If you rent, it costs less up front, but it tends to cost more the more time you spend with it. You know, having a rental or a lease is a lot less stressful because if something breaks or something happens to the car, the shop is gonna take care of that for you, right? Whereas if you own it and something breaks or you get in an accident and you don't have full coverage insurance, that's gotta come out of your pocket. Also, you know, if you're gonna rent, given that you don't have to cough up all the money up front, it gives you more options of vehicles. Because if you're gonna buy, you know, you have this set price range, right? Especially since you're coming to Japan with a certain amount of money and you kind of gotta stay in that price range or else you'll have no money. It's kind of where I saw myself. But, you know, if you're gonna rent, then that means you only have to make sure you make each payment. And it's not gonna be, you know, that expensive. You know, nicer cars are going to cost more per month, but it's not like you got to cough all that up at once, whereas if you're going to buy a car. Okay, so but ultimately what I think makes the most sense is that, well, it depends on your personality and what you want. If you want to play it safe and don't want to have to worry about something breaking down or a big expense coming up, just go for the rental. It'll give you a lot more peace of mind, I think. Although, you know, and I'll talk about this in a second when I talk about my experience, but I've had no difficulties or big repairs that my car needed. I've owned it for 2 years. But I think the big thing is, my general advice would be, if you're going to stay for 1 year, only 1 year, rent. It's easier to rent. If you know you're only going to be here for a year, rent. If you know you plan on being here for longer than a year, 2 years, 3 years or more, I would definitely encourage you to buy, because you are going to save so much money by buying, and I'll talk about that right now as I talk about what I did. So I bought a little Nissan Moko, a little K car, and when I bought it, it was, okay, by the way, I'm gonna just put everything into USD here to make it simple. Of course, with the exchange rate, it's gonna be a little bit less in USD, but you know, it's not quite 100 yen to a dollar. It's about, what is it? 100 yen is 90 cents or something like that. But I'm just, to keep it simple, I'm going to keep it in USD and talk about it. So roughly this is what it would cost USD. So I bought my car for $3,000, and really that wasn't even the car, because when I got it, insurance for 1 year came with it, and the shocken for 2 years came with it. So really the car probably only cost about a little under $2,000, and that other grand and some change was the insurance and the shocken. Again, if you're renting a car, all that's included in the monthly cost, okay? So you don't have to worry about any of that. Now buying, it's not a huge headache, because when you buy it, you can't drive it off the lot unless you have those things. So all that stuff is usually included. It's what happens a year, 2 years later that you gotta make sure you stay on time with, you know, making sure you get in that insurance and making sure you're staying with the shocken. Not too difficult, but just something you have to keep your mind on. So I bought my little K car. Now, if you don't know what a K car and a Futsusha, or a normal car, or as us gaijin call them, white plates or yellow plates, I'll explain that really quick. White plates are just your normal standard 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder cars, and they have a white plate because of the engine size. K cars, which have the yellow plates, have tiny engines. I don't know what cylinders they are, but it's kind of like a big go-kart engine. I mean, K cars are illegal in the United States now. I think they were legal at one point. They're illegal because of the safety standards. If that's something you're worried about, you could look up. I didn't feel like they were unsafe. A lot of people around drive K cars, and You know, whether you're in a white plate Honda Fit or a little K car like my Nissan Moco, if you get hit by a truck, well, you're gonna get hit by a truck. I don't see a big difference there. I'm just praying to God that I'll be okay. So anyways, white plates or the Futsisha are just stronger, more reliable cars at the end of the day. They just have more power to them, bigger engines, more space and all that. K cars are smaller, better on gas typically, a lot cheaper, but weak, very weak. You can't really climb up to high speeds fast. It's hard to go up mountains. I've done it. You can do it, but you gotta go slow. And I wouldn't do it in a car full of people. Every time I have my K car full of people, which only has 4 seats, but anytime it's full, I always feel like I'm hurting it. So it really is just intended kind of for everyday commuter use. So if you wanna drive far, like on your vacation and stuff, and take it hours away, I would go with a white plate. But for me, if I leave the prefecture, if I'm not taking public transport, if I'm gonna drive, I just rent a car. But yeah, anyways, that's up to you. So yeah, like I said, a white plate's gonna cost more, and of course it depends on the white plate too. You could have a big truck or a van versus a smaller white plate car. So everything's gonna kind of cost different. But generally, you know, with Shotgun and insurance, yellow plates, the K cars are gonna be cheaper. That's why I bought it. I couldn't afford a white plate when I got here because I paid for my car cash. So all I could afford was a K car. So anyways, I bought this Nissan Moco for $3,000 USD. Okay, bam, bought it. Included 2 years of Shotgun, 1 year of insurance. That's how much it was. And I asked the guy at the shop, I said, okay, so I'm kind of thinking about buying a car, but how much would it cost to rent this thing? He said it would cost $220 a month. Okay, so that's that number. And then I bought it for $3,000, right? Okay, so I did the math. What's 220 times 12? So when you multiply that number after 1 year, it's like 2,600 something bucks, right? And then again, now I bought the car for $3,000, right? Okay, so that's why I say within a year, it's not really worth buying a car. Now, if you buy a car, you could sell it, and then, you know, you might get most of that money back. But again, you have to go through the hassle of selling it. And if something happens where you have to put more money into it, it probably isn't worth buying. So just for the short year, I would recommend someone renting a car. But if you're gonna stay longer like me, the second or third year, buying definitely pays off. Buying definitely pays off. So if you take that number and multiply it by 2, then you can see how much money you're saving after 2 years. But then you say, wait, Anthony, what about your repairs? What about your insurance? How much does that cost? Okay, let me tell you. Okay, I got it written down here. So, my insurance is about $100 a year. Now, if you're from Michigan like me, it sounds like a lie. Like, it's not true, because I was paying over $100 a month in Michigan because, you know, car insurance is like robbery there. But here it's about $100 to $200 a year. So add that on. Okay, so we're a little over $3,000 now. And the repairs I've had to pay for personally. Again, this will vary. This will vary, but this is what I had to pay for personally. Let's see here. Tires. So if you're in an area that snows, you are legally required to buy different tires for winter. They have thicker tread. And then you'll have your separate summer tires for when it's not snowing. But if it is snowing, if there's snow on the ground, you are legally required to have winter tires. And they are kind of expensive. For my K car, it costs about $200 for 4 tires. I mean, for those little K car tires, that is kind of expensive, all things considered, but not too bad. Oil changes. I could do it myself if I really wanted to, perhaps, but I just take it to the shop. It's gonna cost between 20 and 30 bucks. And you can do that depending on how much you drive. I do it twice a year because what the hell? I don't even drive that much. So yeah, twice a year. So you can add that on. And then also, not maintenance, but a repair I needed was my battery died. And how much did it cost for a new battery? It cost $50. That's a small K car. The battery isn't too expensive, $50. Got that put in. Okay, so then for 2 years it cost me just under $3,500, and we're at the rental price after 2 years, we're at over $5,000, right? So you can compare that. And then if you're staying a third year like me, Now we'll see. I got a whole nother year. I could total my car. My engine could go out. Anything could happen. But we'll see. One thing that is required though was my shock end. Shock end is expensive. So you have like the base shock end price, and then you have repairs that need to be done for safety standards, and then also legal, emissions standards that you have to meet with your car. So I needed to get some stuff on my muffler fixed. The big one was my tie rods were bad, so I had to get new tie rods, and a couple other small things. And then there's the flat shock end fee, and then there's the tax and the insurance that will come with it for 2 years. So this time I got a 2-year insurance plan. The total of that was, here's what the receipt looks like for shock end, okay? So you'll have things listed like, necessary repairs that you have to get done, and then recommended repairs, but you probably don't have to get this stuff done right now. You could wait till the next shock end. I got almost everything done, including my unnecessary repairs, because I figured, well, I'm gonna try and sell the car, whatever, when I leave, so I don't want to put that on the next person. And also, it was a brake issue, and I don't want that going out in a year and then have to get that fixed. I might as well just get it done now. So I did that. But the total for my shock end was just under $1,400. Just under $1,400, about $1,370. Okay, so we add that on. So now for my 2 years, I'm at $4,780. Again, now that's 2 years, but I'm staying a third year. If you're not staying a third year, if you only stay a second year, and you can sell the car, and you don't have to pay for the shock end because you're not going to use it. So you don't have to include that in your price. Okay? So you also save that money if you're not staying your third year. If you are staying your third year, you have to spend that money, but then compare that to the third year price of the rental. Okay? Third year price of the rental would cost $7,000. What do I have written here? $7,900, almost $8,000. Right? So it's going to cost over $7,000 for that third year. And then the cost of buying this car 3 years ago, if I leave after my third year, is gonna be still under $5,000 unless something really big comes up. So then you have to take the risk. But then I ask myself, what are the odds of something so big coming up that it would cost more than the car itself? It's not that big. And if it does, let's say I have to put $1,000 into the car, I still saved almost $2,000, right? So my recommendation, to put it simply, is that if you're staying for a year, I would rent. If you're staying for 2 or 3 years, I would definitely buy. And if you stay here for 5 years, you will save so much money by buying a car. But ultimately, the choice is yours. Anyways, I hope some of you guys found this video useful. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or hit me up on Instagram, DM me there. I'll get back to you when I have time. Anyways, hoping some of you guys can get to Japan soon. Because this corona thing, let's hope the world gets back to normal. Let's pray for that. God bless you guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.